the live stream says it's live streaming, and I am going to I got to stop the screen sharing because I'm sharing the wrong thing. I'll get this down one of these days. Okay, share
Yes,
screen.
just when the world abandons it.
Just when the world abandons it. Yeah, so I'm going to place our opening credits just when my clock hits 7:30. That take just under a minute and have an underscore of some of your music, Joe. You can tell us what it is.
Wow.
And it's just great to have everybody with us. So if everybody who's not me or Joe would turn off your cameras, that would be great. And I'm going to actually turn off my camera now. And then when the credits are over, Joe, you and I will turn our cameras back on.
Okay.
And it's 7.
Take a look just outside your window, flowers bloom in spring. Take a step just beyond your doorway, birds of summer sing. Take a seat just inside your garden, leaves in autumn swing. Take a stroll just around your backyard, snows of winter cling. Seasons come and seasons go, this is the cycle we all know. Witness this eternal ebb and flow.
Well, good evening, everybody. And I am, stop share. There we go. I get this one of these days. Oh, and my camera is off. Jeez. Here we go. I definitely need a technical. Hi. Okay. Welcome, everybody. My name is Eric Edberg. I'm the founding artistic director of the Greencastle Summer Music Festival, which back in October, after we just couldn't stand being together anymore on Wednesday nights, we started a series of Zoom concerts. This is the 28th and last weekly one, and we now call ourselves the Greencastle Virtual Music Festival. We're going to be resuming live in-person concerts at Gobin Church in Greencastle, Indiana on the first Wednesday in June, which I believe is June 2nd. And we will have a couple more of these virtual concerts, and those are the schedule is to be announced. And if you're on our email list, we will get you on there. I'm just so delighted to have this final one of our every week concerts have my friend and very admired colleague from the folk music world, Joe Peters, who has, if you're not familiar with him, I know a lot of the people here are either from his work in other parts of Indiana or for the many times he's appeared down here in Greencastle. Just one of the most fascinating people, one of the most creative people I know. He's done over a dozen albums and has a big background in academia and in science, and he'll tell us about that. But right now, I'm just going to turn things over to Joe, and welcome. It's great to have you with us.
Hey, Eric, thanks so much. And be sure to let me know if I cut out or anything, or if things don't sound too right coming through the microphone. It's been a learning experience over the past year of moving online with some music. So nonetheless, I'm sure that we would all agree that it's good to be alive. In the morning when I rise, as I open up my eyes, it is then I slowly recognize that it's good to be alive. the sun's high in the sky as the day so quickly flies, it is then I fully realize that it's good to be alive. In the evening sunlight dies as the moon appears so wise, it is then I sing these lullabies. Yes, it's good to be alive. Yes, it's good to be alive. It's so good to be alive. So I'm from Indiana. I'm a Hoosier, kind of through and through. I've transplanted here to California a little over 4 years ago to help take care of my mother-in-law with my wife, Di. Many of you know Di, and I think you might recognize her back there with me on the bed. Well, photographic resemblance anyway. So I'd like to dedicate this song to some very special Hoosiers. My sister, Sue, and my brother-in-law, John Young, they're tuned in tonight. And this song references them. It's a bit of autobiography for those of you who have no clue who I am. I am my father's son. I am my mother's too. I come from the Hoosier state. My sister's name is Sue. No matter what you think, no matter what you know, I've always been and will always be an ordinary Joe. Sue married a man, John Young is his name. My wife is Di, she's a lot of fun. Thank goodness those two did not marry, 'cause sadly then she'd be Di Young. I am my father's son. I am my mother's too. I come from the Hoosier state. My sister's name is Sue. No matter what you think, no matter what you know, I've always been and will always be an ordinary Joe. I like to play music with my friends at night. I like to hike most every day. I never did get the hang of work, but I damn sure know how to play. Am I my father's son? Am I my mother's too? I come from the Hoosier state. My sister's name is Sue. No matter what you think, no matter what you know, I've always been and will always be an ordinary Joe. I am my father's son. I am my mother through and through. I come from old Kokomo, grew up on Lake Tippecanoe. No matter what you think, no matter what you know, I've always been and will always be an ordinary Joe. I've always been and will always be an ordinary Joe. Yeah, so Eric, I don't know if you want to bring folks back in and yourself as well, or anyway.
Well, that would be great, and because we like to think of these as music parties. Like we got together in somebody's living room. I'm sitting here in my inherited chair, right? Which we're in Joe's music room, which also is his bedroom, and so feel free to turn on your camera and ask a question, just like we're having a party and we talk with each other and play some songs, and that was just beautiful, man, just really beautiful.
Why,
just
thank
beautiful.
you so much.
So if you've got a comment or a question, just unmute yourself and ask it.
And if not,
more music.
We need more volume from Joe.
Can do. Now about this stuff.
That sounded like it might have been clipping a little bit, Joe.
Yep, too much.
And we're getting an echo from somewhere.
I think just when other people have.
Okay.
And what about now? Are we still clipping?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Well, over this past year of the pandemic, I've had a blast actually, because had an opportunity to work remotely with friends and collaborators, and it was a wonderful thing. And I'll talk a little more about that. But this is the product of this past year. It's a double CD called Collaboration, and there are 2 discs there, and I'll talk about both of them. This song that I'd like to do right now, the lyrics were penned by a collaborator named Rick Mummy. He's in the Lafayette area. He's a wonderful singer, songwriter, musician, former DJ, and we've done some collaboration in the past. This is one of his sets of lyrics that I put to music, and it's called One More Time. I'm not Muddy Waters, I'm not Michael Bublé. I sing it the way I sing it because I sing it that way. I know it's not for everybody, so I will not be hateful if you go. Just give me one more show, or 2 or 3 or 4. If I want any more, I'll let you know. I'd love to hang around and talk a little more, but it's showtime and I have to go. I am my daughter's father, my mother's son, kinda old, but there's still business to be done. I put a piece of me in every song, a few more ditties and I might be gone. Just give me one more show, or 2 or 3 or 4. If I want any more, I'll let you know. I'd love to hang around and talk a little more, but it's showtime and I have to go. I never got to have a great big hit, but I mean it when I say that I don't give a fig. That fame would just have gone straight to my head, and all that money, honey, would have killed me dead. Just give me one more show, or 2 or 3 or 4. If I want any more, I'll let you know. I'd love to hang around and talk a little more, but it's showtime and I have to go. I'd love to hang around and talk a little more, but it's showtime and I have to go. It's showtime and I have to go. It's showtime. So that's those pet lyrics are by Rick Mummy, and it's a whole lot of fun. I got to do the music for everything on this album basically, except for one song, and so it was really a great amount of fun to take other people's lyrics, other people's stories, other people's headspaces, and work with them free from my own, and just put them to music. And then once did that, well, it seemed like it just didn't make sense to stop the collaboration there. So I'll do a couple little things here that might explain a little further how this whole thing came about. So in the fall, last fall, took a trip to Sparks, Nevada, just outside Reno. And this little guitar, it's a Taylor GS Mini. It's really handy to travel with. So I take it with me when I go places, and I just was fooling around on it and came up with a little instrumental thing that I ended up putting on the collaboration album, and it's called Sparks because I was in Sparks when it happened. And then, being a songwriter and there's nothing wrong with plagiarizing yourself. So I took that same little melody and just kind of slowed it down and put some words to it. And these words are on the back of this collaboration album. I call this song COVID Collabs. And we'll just start out with a little bit of that instrumental Sparks so you can see how it flows from the one to the other. Broke my toe in January, turned too old in February. Along came March and blew us all away. Hey, hey, all of April I never went out. May rolled in, left, no doubt by June this thing had simply run away. Then friends sent lyrics and poems and things. I grabbed my guitar and plucked the strings. Before too long these songs found wings. So I bought some gear and learned to use it. Made 2-track demos that sounded like Magic Man, then turned them into hits. Searched for singers in mid-July. By the end of August they had multiplied. Come late September it all came together. Throughout October we mixed and matched. November made sure these babies hatched. Come December they were smooth as Spanish leather. So thank you, COVID, for collaboration from one end to the other of this mighty nation. There's strength in numbers, we shall overcome. Yeah. So that's kind of one of the songs that kind of tell what's going on with this new album. All about collaboration. Yeah.
Well, one of the themes that we've had in this series has been COVID creativity,
There you
and
go.
the way that people have responded to this physical isolation and found ways to stay connected, and also as artists, the new kinds of collaborations or new skills that we've developed. So, one of the things is a year ago, I had no idea that I would learn how to do all the things that I do, even if I'm fumbling with some of them tonight. And I remember right at the start of this, I was saying, Joe, we've got to have you on here. And you said, well, I don't have the right setup and stuff. So what was it like for you to learn to do what we're doing tonight?
Right. This is so. I mean, I was stuck. I'm a songwriter, and if I write something, I know I'm going to record it. And so it's like, well, how can I do that? I can't get into Michael Kelsey's studio in Broad Ripple, Indiana. So I asked Michael, and he said, well, you just need an audio interface, a condenser mic, set of headphones, plug it into your computer with software, and away you go. So I bought an outfit that he recommended that came with software, and a bit of a learning curve, sure, but now I can. So there's songs on this album that I recorded my vocals right here in this room that you're seeing right now.
Right, and you got a new laptop, I think. So,
I did, by golly.
right, I did too. Yeah, so it's been quite an adventure. And for any of our colleagues who haven't caught on to this, what kind of mic and interface are you using?
Yes, so I have. It's a brand that's the brand name is called Focusrite, and this is a Scarlett, and it's a 2i2, so it's a second generation 2-channel audio interface. So I can plug in instrument, I can plug in microphone. The condenser mic is paired with it. It's a Scarlett Studio condenser mic. I even came with a set of Scarlett Studio headphones, and that's really all I needed. In fact, my friend Dennis Fazio, who's in one of the rooms here tonight, he asked me for my recommendation. I passed on Michael's recommendation to him, and now he's all set up and doing his own home recording. So, we're just a wonderfully supportive mutual community, and we'll help each other figure it out.
Yeah, it's really cool. I did my first playing cello live just a few weeks ago, where right here in my living room where I had things set up. So it's been a wonderful learning curve, and how great it is because we've got people from all over the country, and even I see my daughter is watching, and she's in Mexico City. My ex-wife Allison is watching with her family in Cold Spring, New York, and there's a lot of us here in Indiana. So. If you see Maya Guest there, that's Allison and her folks and her sister Maya. So that's great. So, well, tell you what, let's let you sing some more. And then what I'm going to suggest, if you're watching and you have a question or you want to make a comment, there's a way to raise your virtual hand. There should be a thing at the bottom of your screen on Zoom that says raise hand. Just raise your hand like we were in elementary school, and I'll call on you at our next break. But for now, some more music, please, Mr. Peters.
Super. All right. So back to this collaboration. So I've done a couple things in the past with a photographer friend. His name is Terry Lyons. In this particular case, this is one of his photographs that I set to music at one point in time. I ended up calling the song that I wrote based on this photograph Man in the Tree, as you can see. This particular one here, another photograph he sent just to inspire a song, and I wrote one called Water Rising. So during the course of the pandemic, Terry sent another photograph, which ended up in the CD itself. You can kind of see it's a sort of a bleak landscape of eastern Montana. Behind this gate that says Lame Jones is an old cemetery. And he sent that photograph and one other of some cattle standing near this area here. Later, he sent a couple of sort of historical tidbits about Lame Jones. Apparently, he had a hunting trip out in 1869 out there. So I didn't know much about him, and there may not be much to know about him. So I felt free to invent a story about Lame Jones, but not really knowing where I wanted to go with such a story. I took an old Chinese proverb that I was very familiar with and that I like very much, and that I had shared with my friend Bill Price, a singer-songwriter out of Indianapolis who does the vocals on this song commendably. And then I'm so glad that I was finally able to collaborate with Bill. So this is the story of Lame Jones in the form of a Chinese proverb set in eastern Montana in the late 1800s. Jones headed west to strike his claim in 1869. Pistol in his vest, fortune and fame lay buried in the mine. This lonesome valley is where he made his home. He dug its riches where the antelope do roam. A wild man inside no one could ever tame. And here's the story of what this Mr. Jones became. Jones on his horse rode out one day, hunting elk out on the range. Had a water source, a stallion's neigh. He roped it home and his world began to change. His friends and neighbors cried, "You're the damnedest man alive. A horse so wild and free, a fair match for your pride." Next time he went a-hunting, well, he rode that big old bay. But the stallion threw him against a rock and left him there where he lay. Jones crawled on back with a shattered leg. The life he knew would never be the same. His world grew black, heaven he begged. What good am I now that I am lame? The army came to gain recruits for the Indian wars. They left Lame Jones alone, for he could ride a horse no more. They saddled all the healthy men who were never seen again. Jones, he took a lovely wife who settled in the glen with him. Jones gave his name to a thriving town. He raised his kids and cattle on the plains. By the time I came, he's all tore down. Only the graves and names remain. Jones headed west to stake his claim. Nothing left there now except his bones. Jones headed west, fortune and fame. This is the story of Lame Jones. This is the story of Lame Jones. So I've got one more from this latest. Again, it's called Collaboration. One of the discs on here is many different collaborators in terms of the lyrics that were written or the music in this case. The other one, thing two, as it were, was completely penned lyric-wise by Frederick Michaels. He's a Hoosier poet, author of Potholes in the Universe, wonderfully talented poet and wonderful, cherished collaborator. I was stopped at a red light in San Jose, California, and I saw this unusual, to me unusual anyway, cloud formation up in the sky. So through the windshield, I snapped this photo. And I put the caption, I put it right there on Facebook as I was stopped at the red light, and I said, "Fingerprint Sky." Well, by the time I got back home here in Walnut Creek, about an hour and 60 miles later, Frederick Michaels had penned lyrics to that photograph, which he called Kitty Hawk. And as soon as I got home and saw that he had penned lyrics, I went into my music room, this room right here, and I put it to music. So this is Kitty Hawk, and it's great fun and a wonderful collaboration with Frederick Michaels, who on your screen, there he is, he's named himself correctly, Frederick Michaels. So this is a collaboration with him. Dream that I had learned to fly, and in my dream I touched the sky. So when God asked me by and by whose prints have soiled my perfect sky, I thought to answer it was I, 'cause in my dream it was no lie. I knew awake though I can't fly, and offered, hey, I'm not that guy. Then I heard God give forth a sigh. Was not your dream to touch the sky? High, high. Now that's abrupt, and that's exactly how I ended it. And I'm glad I did. Mr. Frederick Michaels did reach out and say, "You want to extend that and turn it into a real song?" And I thought, no, that's good enough. I'm kind of glad we just stopped right there, because then in the studio, Mike Kelsey took that track and added a whole nother sort of jazz bass oriented thing at the end of it with organ and bass and all. And that inspired Cheryl Fletcher, who I invited to sing this song, to record the vocals for this song. That inspired her to get out of her comfort zone, and she did a lot of scatting around on that sort of jazz outro that Michael put into that song by extending it that way. So, excuse me, another just absolutely wonderful collaboration and collaborator, Frederick Michaels. Great to see you here tonight. And maybe since we're on a roll, I'll do one more, Eric, and then let's take a break and see if anybody wants to chime in and chat, because I'm happy to do so. But since we have Frederick in the everybody can see him there with his camera on. This is our latest collaboration, and I didn't know that it would happen, because after having done a whole album's worth of material with him, I said to him, I said, well, give others a chance to work with you, because you're so much fun to work with, and I don't want to hog all the opportunities. So he sent me some lyrics. He said that I wrote these for my foster daughter. She's 2 years old, and we're going to try to adopt her. And Frederick, as you can see, is probably pushing 70. Anyway, he's got a young foster daughter, and I believe that he penned this for her. And I said, someone else can put that to music. But when no one did, I came back to him and said, do you mind if I do? And he was fine with that. So this one I'd like to dedicate, however, since I don't know his foster daughter, I'm going to dedicate it to little Theo. So my sister Sue and her husband John are babysitting their grandson today, little Theo, while they're tuning in. So this is called Sleep Tight, Little Angel. If I sing you this song, will you show me a smile? I'll keep it all lifelong, though that be only a while. If you recollect me, try to think of this song. When you're grown, I'll have left, but my heart in this song beats on. A raft of joys arrives mid-storm and gloom of night, and what was wrong for you is suddenly made right. Sleep tight, my little angel, sleep tight. In a blink of an eye, the gears of time will turn. What awaits us, you and I? We must wait a while to learn. If it's fate I'm not here when the hard rain comes round, let this song quell your fear, and the spirit of love calm you down. A raft of joys arrives mid-storm and gloom of night, and what was wrong for you is suddenly made right. Sleep tight, my little angel, sleep tight. My lasting love for you will always help to see you through, invisible and without sound. Its armor wraps you round and round. If I sing you this song, will you show me a smile? I'll keep it all lifelong, though there be only a while. If you recollect me, try to think of this song. When you're grown, I'll have left, yet my heart in this song beats on. A raft of joys arrives mid-storm and gloom of night, and what was wrong for you is suddenly made right. Sleep tight, my little angel, sleep tight. Sleep tight, my little angel, sleep tight. Sleep tight, my little angel, sleep tight. Yeah, thank you, Frederick Michaels, for all those great lyrics. So much fun to work with. So yeah, I don't know, Eric, we can certainly open this thing up. I'm very willing.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, first of all, that was so beautiful. I think I should listen to that to go to sleep with, you know. and as somebody with a grandchild on the way, that's going to be a great thing to share with them. Liz Ephraimson, who is a good friend of both of ours, and I know has played with you, and I'm connected with because
He's
her
on
son.
here too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's great. So she wanted to say, she said in the chat that the sound is great, and you're so amazing to share your talent with other people, and yes, you are. And,
There
but
must be a but, though.
No, there's no but. And
but.
she asked, do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Oh, vividly, clearly. Yes. Yeah. So, you know, as Eric alluded, I came up through academia. I didn't get my PhD till I was 40 years old. So a lot of academic writing, you know, and it's a very different sort of thing than a creative thing. I mean, you know, you write from the data, you know, the data tells the story, and it's your job to get it out there. With a songwriter, my job is just to get out of the way, you know, and there's something inspirational and there's things to process and so on, but I don't want to overthink this. I just want to get out of the way and get it down. So I didn't write songs until I was 42 years old. And the very first song I wrote, I was on an excursion. It was the longest hike I've ever taken in my life. It was 42 kilometers in a single day. We started out in the middle of the night. We climbed a volcano in eastern Java called Mount Bromo, and we were at the top for sunrise. And we're exhausted at that point in time, even though we had much more hiking ahead of us. We didn't know yet. Anyway, I had my little Indonesian phrase book, and that experience and being free from any kind of academic thinking, it's just like, oh. So I just started writing in that Indonesian phrase book the lyrics to a song that I called Sunrise at Mount Bromo. Now, the odd thing about that is, now as a songwriter, I keep most of my songs about 3 minutes, Sometimes I'll go 4, rarely 5. Early on, though, I was not so concise. My very first song, Sunrise at Bromo, which concludes my first album called Given Birth, is 8 minutes long. It's like a rock anthem, sort of like Stairway to Heaven, Freebird, those sorts of things in terms of having great jam with Michael Kelsey on electric guitar and all. So, Elizabeth, that was my first song. You can hear it at the end of my first album, and it's 8 minutes long. But for some people, it's still their favorite song that I've ever written. So what can I say?
And you know what? There are now 2 requests in the chat for that song.
Wonderful. Well,
So if you
I
want
can
to do it,
the
man.
honor, I would do so. I don't make no promises, though. What you got there, Eric?
Oh, I was just saying. So Sabrina Hardenberg requested that song, Sunrise at Bromo, and Shelley Menon says, yes, I love that song. It was one of the earliest ones I heard. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
our curiosity is piqued. We either have to go out and buy the album, or if you could fit it in tonight, that would be.
I think it would take
would
up
be
the
great.
rest of our time. So maybe but I do appreciate it. But since they're both familiar with it, they'll probably cut me some slack, because it's like, without Michael Kelsey to do it justice, it probably is one of those where, when everybody says Freebird and you just sort of move on to the next song. But I don't mean to brush that off, but I appreciate it. It's
So-
special to me too.
Okay, so I get so you had a double major in as an undergrad with
Asian
religious
languages,
studies in East Asian,
literatures,
right?
And religious studies. That's true.
And then your master's is in,
Forest resources.
and so is your doctorate is also in that, and then you went on. You were a college professor for a while, and then what? I think a lot of us go through all that, become college professors. Some of us think, yeah, oh man, I wish I could just go do music, but it's hard to let go of that after one has invested in everything. How did that come about that you switched lives to this other life? Yeah.
Several things I will credit with that. First of all, as I said, this kind of free time and a new place. Indonesia is full of sights and sounds, so it's just like rich for plumbing ideas and stories and so on. So that was one thing, and then being free from any kind of restricted thinking or writing. I'd finished up all the writing I wanted to do at that point in time academically. And then third, and this was crucial, a friend of mine had bought a Yamaha 4-track cassette recorder. So this allowed for multi-tracking, and you could ping tracks, which means you could take several and put them all onto one track. So you could come up with a tape that had a maximum of 7 tracks on it. And I had bought a little electronic keyboard for Di, and she had that in Indonesia, and I took this 4-track recorder with me to Indonesia as well. The keyboard had all kinds of percussion and all bass and organ and piano and so on. So it was a great little instrument that had all this bank of sounds. And I had this 4-track recorder. So I wrote that Sunrise at Bromo, and then it was like the floodgates. It was just like I just started writing song after song after song. I wrote just about 2 albums worth of material, just like in like the first 2 months I was in Indonesia. And I had a way to sort of bring them to life with this 4-track recorder. So I would wait till about 3 or 4 in the morning when all the traffic died down, and that's when I would go and record. And I made two tapes in that first year, 1996 and 1997, two 4-track tapes. One I called Tales from Distant Java, and the other one was Pictures from Ancient China, because the rest of these songs I wrote while in a rural area in China doing work with Dai, my wife. So those two tapes led to two really wonderful things for me musically. First of all, happened to bump into an old graduate school friend named Milton Kaneshiro. He's a Japanese Brazilian. He did his PhD at NC State with us, became a good friend, and years later in Indonesia we bumped into each other, and I gave him one of these tapes, and he was taken by it. He's got an artistic flair himself, and he was better off financially than we were at the time, and he said, well, I'd love to finance this, if you can put out an album. So that was really crucial to becoming a recording artist, is that I had a patron of the arts, and I'm eternally grateful to Milton for that confidence and that support, that financial support. Secondly, I took another tape, and Michael Kelsey, if you folks don't know Michael Kelsey, check out michaelkelsey.com. This man is fabulous and fantastic. I happened to be at the Tippecanoe Arts Federation in the fall of 1997 with Lafayette Area Folk Music Society. It was a very dulcimer-oriented group, and I went with my mom because she played dulcimer. And I was downstairs in the building there doing this dulcimer folk thing. Unbeknownst to me, upstairs, the Songwriters Association of Mid-North Indiana, SAMI, was having something they called fall harvest of songs or something. And my friend Edwin Layer, he's since deceased, but he's a wonderful violin player and just a character. He had come down and sought me out, and he says, Joe, you need to go upstairs and check this guy out. So I went upstairs, and it was Michael Kelsey, and he was playing a song called Mama's Song, and it was like I had never heard or seen anything like it. And at that moment, I said, this is who I would love to record with. And so when I had a chance, he used to have a show at a place called T.A. Tom's in West Lafayette, and I went to his shows routinely because I really liked his music. And I handed him a tape at one of those, and I said, I don't know if you record. I know you used to have a professional studio. I know you don't anymore, but if you're at all into it, give this a listen and see what you think. He went on a road trip, came back, had listened to the tape, and he said, let's do it. And we've made, a dozen albums now, 22 years. So wonderful things came out of that original songwriting fury in Indonesia and China. And it had to do with a convergence of historical factors, you might say.
Yeah, and you were willing to let go of your academic life?
Okay, so there's the follow-up. And Shaylee Menon is with us tonight. She was my primary academic mentor. This woman who just popped up there, I can't say enough wonderful things about mentoring young faculty, and she's gone on to do wonderful things with her academic career and keeps moving up and out of sight. That said, she's a writer as well, and she has published online her writing, which is not her academic writing, but rather her, I don't know, Shaylee, what do you call it?
I don't know. Short stories.
Exactly, essays and so on, and they're very wonderful. So I lost my train of thought. And it had to do with academics. Yes. So,
Right.
So I got to teach with Shaylee in 2002 up at Grand Valley State University, where at that time she was on the faculty of in biology. She later became the head of that, and then a dean, and so on and so forth, and then got too big for Grand Valley and moved on. Anyway. So after that experience, it was like, well, Dai's overseas. My parents are in Indiana. Here I am in Michigan. My parents could use me more than these kids here. So in 2006, Dai and I came back from overseas. She had been over there solid for 10 years in Indonesia, China, and Vietnam, mostly Vietnam, and Laos as well. And I had been a lot of years overseas with her as well. So when we came back to the States, I just said, I'm not going to go back into academia. I want to be here with my parents. So what can I do? Well, I started playing open mics in West Lafayette, and playing with Michael because he was so gracious to invite me up on stages where he'd be playing, you know. And then these open mics, particularly at a place called the Skylight Coffee House that was on Main Street in downtown Lafayette. And I met so many wonderful musicians and encouraging people. And then, you know, they said, well, you should play this restaurant or you should play here. So I started getting gigs and so on. And yes, you know, so it's just like it happened. It was a wonderful second career. I got to do it full time for 10 years. That doesn't mean I made a living doing it. I didn't need to make my living doing it, but I got to do it full time for 10 years to be a performer, a writer, and a recording artist. So I'm so grateful actually for being able to leave my academic life and become a songwriter. Because this is the role that I'm most comfortable in life.
Well, it seems really obvious that you found your calling,
Yeah.
and it's great when we get to spend our life doing what we love. So,
It truly is.
at this point, why don't we do some more music, and then we'll have a little more talking before we wind things up around 8:30,
Sure thing.
which means we got about 10 minutes or so. We can go a little longer. I don't think anybody will leave.
All right. So I'll do a little short song here, and then I'm going to grab this other guitar because I've got it in an alternative tuning that I want to share the latest thing that I've written. This one goes back a couple albums, but I just enjoy it. It's called Kingdom Come. Everybody's waiting when it's all said and done. Everybody's waiting for their kingdom come. Everybody's hating on their fellow man. Everybody's hating, it's the law of the land. They're coming for your freedom, they're coming from within. They're coming for your freedom, don't you let them win. They'll promise you the kingdom, they'll promise you the world. They'll promise you the kingdom while they steal your pearl. We've fallen from the garden, we've eaten from the tree. We've fallen from the garden of the Adam and Eve. We're drowning in the water, we're running out of air. We're drowning in the water, nobody seemed to care. Everybody's waiting when it's all said and done. Everybody's waiting for their favorite son. Everybody's baking in the heat of the sun. Everybody's waiting for the kingdom come. Everybody's waiting for the kingdom come. Everybody's waiting for the kingdom come. So out here in California, and because of the pandemic, I think really, honestly, I've been able to be involved in several songwriter groups, one in Southeast Michigan, one right down the road in Niles, Michigan, and one further down the California coast. And those have been wonderful outlets for writing, for sharing, and so on. And they did not exist pre-pandemic in terms of being online communities. They were in person. So the other day in one of those, it was a works in progress thing. And the fellow who administers that particular group, Michael McNevin, is wonderfully talented singer-songwriter in Niles, California. He did a song in an alternative tuning, and I like messing around with alternative tuning. So that just prompted me to put the guitar in an alternative tuning. What this is it's an open chord tuning. It's actually an open D, but I put the capo on the second fret, so it becomes an open E. So I get a chord just by strumming it because I've retuned the strings to do so. And I was just messing around. What I do as a songwriter anymore, we all get comfortable with ways of creating. And what I do is in the evening, I'll just come on and slap a guitar on and just start riffing around on it, just playing, things, see what comes out. And if I get anything that I think is worthwhile, then I just go to my handy little iPhone, and there's that voice memo thing that allows you to just hit one button and record. So I've got banks of riffs and so on that I've put in just messing around of an evening. And this is one of those that started as a riff. It was this thing here. I was just like, anyway, it was just one of those things. So I recorded that riff, and then several days later, I thought, oh, I need to write a song, and let's see if we can use that little slide. And it just seemed like, it felt like, hold on. And I just went from there and ran with it. Originally, it was going to be a song about friends that I've lost to suicide, and I've lost several good friends in recent years who died by suicide. But then it morphed into something different. So I'm going to dedicate this to families everywhere, but in particular, my family, because it pretty well sums it all up for me. It's called Hold On. Hold on, don't let go, don't let go, we need you so. Hold on, don't you know we'll never let go. You're our sun in every way, and we'll love you till our dying day. So when you're down, come and lean on me. We're in this together, that you can believe. Hold on, don't let go, don't let go, we need you so. Hold on, don't you know we'll never let go. You're our daughter, we're your mom and dad. No matter what you do, be it good or bad, we can't fix all the troubles of this broken world, but we'll always be there for our beautiful girl. Hold on, don't let go, we need you so. Hold on, don't you know we'll never let go. You're a mom and dad, we're your daughter and son, and we'll love you till your days are done. You were there for us, now we're here for you, here for each other, and that's the truth. Hold, don't let go, we need you so. Hold on, don't you know we'll never let go. Hold on, don't let go, we need you so. Hold on, don't you know we'll never let go. Hold Well, this has been a blast.
Wow, that was so beautiful. I didn't know you were going to make me cry, Joe. So, hey, I wanted to say first, I'm going to talk to the people who are watching this on cable access television in Greencastle. So this started out just for those of us who are here as these Zoom watch parties with pre-recorded music, and then recently we were able to start playing them on cable access TV. We not live, but on Saturday afternoon, this concert will be shown. So, those of you who aren't able to join us online for these conversations, we're thinking of you. We miss you. We hope that on June 2nd, first Wednesday in June, you're able to come over to Gobin Church here in Greencastle and join us in person. And if not, those concerts are all going to be recorded, and we'll be playing them here on Channel 3 in Greencastle and Putnam County. And also want to say to everybody who has been with us, it's been a joy to have you with us. And I put a link in the chat. We've gotten, actually, I wrote $7,000, but it's actually over $10,000 we've gotten into the economy, into the musicians' economy, through donations largely from individual people. So if you'd like to be part of circulating money in the economy, especially through musicians, that's one of our missions has been to get some paid work for musicians. So comments, questions for Joe? This has just been so fantastic and really a dream come true for me.
Certainly been my pleasure and a dream come true for me. This is the first such show I've done, though, for a year and a half. So my pleasure.
Well, it's great. Well, feel free to, at this point, turn on your cameras and turn on your mics if you've got comments or questions, and or you just want to introduce yourself to each other, because this is our
little
hangout after the concert time.
Hey, I see my wife. Look at there.
Hey, Joe from Indiana.
Joe.
That sounds like Phil Slade's.
Hi, Joe.
Calling
Hi.
Mexico City. Gary Allison in Detroit. Allison and her sister out in New York, I bet. Man. Dennis Fazio in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sabrina in Carbondale, Illinois. Carl Walsh, you're off in Boston? No, Maine. I think. Anyway.
Joe,
Yes, Maine.
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 There it is.
Joe, it's Allison. Can you hear me? Hi.
Hi.
Hey, there. Allison, I wanted to ask you, when are you next coming to Indiana to do a CD release party?
Cool. Well, thank you for that. That rather helps me segue into that. That's really sweet of you. So on October 15th, this big collaboration, folks, and there's over 20 folks who collaborated in this thing. I forget the exact number, but it's a couple of dozen, more than a couple dozen folks. We're going to have a big party of a concert at the Delphi Opera House on October 15th. And we hope to present every song from this new double album. So that really looking forward to that. I have now also signed up to play the Lafayette Farmers Market the next morning, October 16th. So any of you Lafayette area musicians, please come out and make music with me in the Farmers Market on Saturday the 16th. On Sunday the 17th, going to be doing something with a very special artistic friend, Rena Brower. Many of you know her and love her work. She's a watercolorist. We're going to do our thing, as it were, where she paints on the edge. That is, I play live music and she paints in front of a live audience, a big projection of her painting as it evolves. And it's always, a surprise and a whole lot of fun, and that'll be Sunday, October 17th. So details on those will be coming out certainly by summer, but I'd love to see any of you then and there.
That will be great. Just great. Maybe we can get you a gig in Greencastle. That would be wonderful too.
I'd be thrilled, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. And the other wonderful thing is so many collaborators here. I don't know if all of your fans know that Eric, you and your ex Allison, you've been so much a part of my music over the years, contributing, arrangements, violin, viola, cello, and brought a whole another element to my music, which I cherish and adore, this classical touch, because you guys are so phenomenal in your musicianship. We folk musicians are in awe of you people, but I know that you too have sort of learned a thing or two from us and
absolutely,
broke free from the page, as it were, and so I just mutual creativity. I just adore it. So reach out to me. If you got lyrics, send them. I'm happy to put them to music.
Okay.
And other ways of collaboration. Photos, I work with those, as you've seen, and so on. That I'm all about just, making things that are selfless, that we don't necessarily tag ourselves to, that it's just out there. This is something we've done.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, it's 8:36. Anybody else have questions or comments? I feel like I'm at somebody else's family reunion almost, but I'm a sure tail relative, because I've done a little work. But I know there's so many people who've collaborated with Joe here and who are fans of Joe. So it's really, really great also to have you come and be part of our Greencastle, Putnam County community here.
I will, since there's just a pause there, I will mention Shaylee again, because her daughter, Kira, we've collaborated some in the past, but, and I think some of those collaborations led to her own sort of creative thing happening, so her and her dad were in the studio with Michael Kelsey a lot, I think 2 summers ago, and they laid down a lot of tracks, and now her album is out. It's a jazz it's a jazz album, you might say, but it's got Leonard Cohen on there. She invited me to sing one song with her on it, which was a thrill. I've never done jazz, so that was a blast. And that's out there too. It's called Film Noir Dreams by Kira Alana. So, these things, if we feed each other, it just, everybody just becomes the better person for it. And so I'm just thrilled to make those connections with people.
There's something about that synergy, when people come together creatively, and even you were talking about, getting that first 4-track recorder where you do the 4 tracks and then bounce them and all those things, right? And then being inspired by your own thing. When I've done multi-track things myself, I've been, it's amazing to see how things develop, and we've experienced that in laying down some of the background tracks or additional lines on the albums I've been on with you, and I know Liz has been doing stuff with you, and it's just great to be part of that, of a community or a family. And our series here in the summers, for years, our motto has been bringing a community together with friends, making music for friends, and that came out of I'm going to forget his name right now, but Joseph Schwantner, great contemporary classical composer, was at DePauw some years ago, and we would play this music, which was almost, impossible to decipher the score. Very intricate contemporary music, and the nicest grandfatherly man. And but every rehearsal he was at to coach people or talk, he'd say, "Just remember, the best way to spend your life is making music with your friends." And that is just so true for me, and Joe, I think you really exemplify that, because you are always making music with your friends. So it's great to be part of the family of Joe Peters' friends.
Sounds like a fitting epitaph. I'll go with it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. If nobody else has anything burning to say I'm going to go have dinner.
So good to see everybody. Hope to see some of you in person before too long. Like October, we'll be here soon. And if anyone's tuned in from California, hope to see you before that even. So y'all take care. Eric, thanks to you and the Green Castle Virtual Music Festival for this opportunity to share some songs with everybody tonight. Allison, do you see your thing back there? Joe and Di on the bed.
Hi, Joe.
Bye, everybody. Hi.
Take care. Thanks, Joe.
Hi. Good.
Bye, Joe.
Thanks,
Bye,
Joe.
everybody. You all take care of yourself and take care of each other. Thanks again, Eric.
Okay, thank you all. Have a good night, everybody.